Well, this week I watched the Prince Harry interview on Good Morning America, and I really wanted to hate it, but I've got to be honest, I just didn't hate it. It just made me think of the old Harry that we all used to know.
And oh my gosh, can you even believe this? This is the kind of embarrassment Harry and Meghan probably never saw coming. Like ever. The California courts just slammed down the hammer, and let me tell you, the verdict is downright brutal. We're talking about a $23 million debt that they couldn't cover, and now their so-called dream palace in Montecito, gone, snatched, handed right over to JPmorgan. And guess who personally signed off on it? None other than Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JPMorgan Chase, one of Wall Street's most powerful men. He literally took their precious mansion with a pen stroke. This isn't just money drama anymore. It's the kind of public humiliation that cuts deeper than any tabloid headline.
Leave Meghan in Montecito, bring over those gorgeous two children, Archie and Elizabeth, to get to know their grandparents and get to know their cousins and aunties and uncles at this time of your family going through the...
Remember how Harry and Meghan built their whole brand around that Montecito estate? The grand gardens, those glossy sit-down interviews, and those fancy drone shots Netflix loved so much? That house was their entire backdrop for proving they didn't need the monarchy anymore. It was their trophy, their statement to the world, look, we're independent now. Well, not anymore. Now it's just another foreclosed property tossed away by a banker's pen instead of wrapped in royal ceremony. And Jamie Dimon, please? This man has ruled Wall Street for decades without flinching at any crisis. Did anyone really think he'd blink at Harry and Meghan defaulting on a massive debt? Nope.
Maybe you could be let back into the royal fold. We did hear some reports in the Times earlier on this week that you wanted to be doing some more royal duties. But in order to do that, you need to first come home. So leave Meghan in
He didn't even hesitate. There was no special pass for the so-called Duke and Duchess of Sussex. No hush-hush deal, no royal favor. He treated them just like what they are in Wall Street's cold eyes, regular borrowers who didn't pay their bills. That's the real sting here. Harry and Meghan have always tried to rub shoulders with billionaires, pretending they belonged in those rarefied circles. And now, one of those very billionaires just repossessed their home. Talk about being humbled.
Well, it feels a bit like my lost cat, actually. I did actually lose a cat when I was younger, and I was very, very upset about it.
Can I just say something about Harry's gobbing off to Good Morning America? Everyone this morning has said, oh, actually, I apologise to Harry because I was expecting you to spill the beans and be, really scandalous.
It's wild to think about how Meghan flaunted that mansion in glossy photo shoots, and Harry gave those teary interviews in its gardens. Netflix practically made it their studio set for the truth-telling documentary. The house wasn't just a home, it was their crown jewel, their shiny, we don't need the monarchy badge. But all that glamour was sitting on top of mountains of debt. And when the Netflix checks started shrinking, when Spotify cut them off, and when public trust came crashing down, well, the cash just dried up. And the mansion, well, that became the first casualty.
Said, he was quite muted in his response. But the truth is, he would have known they were going to ask that question. If he really cared about his dad's privacy, he would have said before to the production crew, guys, just don't ask me this question about my dad's health. I don't want to share it.
But Ben,
What's left now is a gaping $23 million hole in their finances. A hole so deep, not even Meghan's favorite PR spin can patch it up. Critics are shaking their heads saying this was bound to happen. Meghan's taste for luxury has always been over the top. Staff, endless security, designer wardrobes, and those private jets for globe-trotting. She kept living like a royal, but without the royal purse to back it up. And instead of dialing back, she doubled down, dragging Harry along into one ridiculously expensive lifestyle choice after another.
I'm a well-respected...
I think though the point is, though, Albie, that his response was, oh, I won't talk about my father's health, I won't go that far. As if we're all going to turn around to be like, how honourable.
And now the whole court ruling lays it bare. This was a lifestyle built on nothing but borrowed money and empty promises. A literal house of cards. The optics? Absolutely brutal. Meghan wanted so badly to prove she could thrive without the monarchy. Instead, she's been publicly evicted. Her so-called independent life has been exposed for what it really was. Loans she couldn't repay. And Harry? Oh, poor Harry. Once the soldier prince, Diana's beloved son, admired for his humility, now people are mocking him as the foreclosure duke. Imagine trading centuries of royal security for a California mortgage you couldn't even keep up with. He walked away from Windsor, from guaranteed estates, from royal privilege, only to be dragged into court as just another debtor. The symbolism is devastating.
Doing book number 2, telling us all about what cancer his father's got.
I think you've just come up with that in your head, because all we did this week was answer the question in the correct way. Ben Butterworth, you're a Harry and Meghan fan-ish. What did you think about it?
Well, you can't.
Can you even process this? The man who literally grew up in castles is now the man with a foreclosure notice. The one who had royal privilege at his fingertips now has absolutely none. This isn't just a money problem, it's the total collapse of the Sussex image. Montecito wasn't just their house, it was their fortress, their stage, their brand, their last tiny shred of prestige. And now, gone. Handed straight over to JPmorgan and Jamie Dimon. For Meghan, this is the kind of humiliation that even her best spin doctors can't twist into a victory. For Harry, it's the collapse of everything he once bragged about, his independence, his freedom. And for the rest of us watching, it's the proof we all needed. Harry and Meghan aren't global elites. They're just failed royals, drowning in debt, stripped of dignity, and laughed at across the world.
It was that they asked him, do you feel American? And he stopped short of saying that. But he did say that he's considered taking US citizenship. Now, I think that would be a very provocative and insulting thing for someone to do that still carries the title of Prince.
And let's be real, once upon a time, the public might have felt sorry for them. Remember that? Harry, the spare prince trying to build his own path. Meghan, the outsider who struggled to fit into the royal mold. People had sympathy, but that sympathy, it's long gone, completely dried up. Now, with the foreclosure plastered across every headline, they're nothing but a punchline. Late-night hosts are roasting Harry, saying he went from Windsor Castle to Wells Fargo overnight. Headlines are calling them royal deadbeats. And regular people who are out here working themselves to the bone to pay their own bills have zero patience for millionaires crying poor after living so far beyond their means. The sentiment is savage. You don't pay, you lose the house. Simple as that.
And so for me, that made me quite sad. And I think that actually told you more about whether he really wants to return to this country.
I don't think Meghan's ever been to Sussex. I'm from Sussex, and let me say, as a native, it's a disgrace that she panders around with that title, Duchess Meghan of Sussex.
She definitely.
And the timing couldn't be worse. Their Hollywood dreams were already crumbling. Spotify pulled the plug, Netflix projects flopped, and now their financial ruin is splashed all over the headlines. Producers aren't lining up for their calls anymore. Why would they? Hollywood runs on power couples who scream confidence, wealth, and stability. And Harry and Meghan, they're projecting the exact opposite: desperation, debt, and chaos. And in an industry that feeds on status, nobody wants to attach themselves to a couple who look like they're on the verge of collapse.
Actually, they continue to use Harry's royal crest on that website that they've just put up. So he feels American, perhaps, and perhaps he'll become an American citizen, but he's still going to rip off.
This is a death sentence for their brand. Even the billionaires they once flaunted as friends are quietly backing away. Let's not forget, they used to boast about attending JPmorgan events and rubbing shoulders with power players. Now Jamie Dimon himself is the one who booted them out of their home. The irony is delicious. And it cuts even deeper than money. It's symbolic. High society is ruthless. Once they smell that you're falling, they slam the doors shut. Invitations stop arriving, donations vanish, and suddenly, you're not in the room anymore. And for Harry and Meghan, who thrive on those elite connections to fuel their so-called philanthropy, this foreclosure is a death blow. That Montecito mansion wasn't just 4 walls and a roof. It was their stage. It was their set piece for interviews, their Netflix backdrop, their proof of independence. Now, what's left? A P.O. box, a hotel suite? Critics are laughing, saying this whole foreclosure proves what they always suspected. Harry and Meghan didn't actually build a new life. They built a facade, a flimsy Hollywood illusion held up by debt and spin, and now that illusion has completely collapsed. That's the real disaster. Their brand was always built on prestige. The titles, the lifestyle, the illusion of power. But strip away that mansion, and suddenly the magic is gone. Without Montecito, they're just another struggling celebrity couple. No castles, no royal safety net, no sprawling estates. So here it is, the end game. They lost the palace the moment they walked away. They lost public sympathy the second they cashed in on Netflix. And now they've lost Montecito, the glittering jewel that was supposed to prove their independence. Jamie Dimon didn't just repossess a house, he repossessed the Sussex dream. What's left? Humiliation, ridicule, and the cold, harsh reality that Harry and Meghan may never recover. Because let's be honest, if you can't even keep the lights on in Montecito, how on earth are you going to keep the spotlight of global relevance burning? The so-called Sussex dream ended not with glory, but with foreclosure. The courts have spoken, Jamie Dimon has taken the mansion, and Harry and Meghan stand exposed. Stripped of the home that symbolized their new life, they're left with nothing but shattered illusions. And that's the gossip bombshell, the mighty royal rebels reduced to nothing more than debtors. And let me tell you, the internet is eating this alive on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Instagram. It's merciless. Memes are everywhere. Meghan's face plastered onto eviction notices. Harry dragging suitcases down the Montecito driveway. One meme summed it all up perfectly. From palace to past due. Savage. A viral TikTok spliced their Netflix docuseries clips with foreclosure headlines and ended it with the killer caption, "Should have stayed in Windsor." Another had Meghan strutting in couture gowns with the tagline, "Luxury is fun," until Jamie Dimon shows up. The internet has crowned Harry the foreclosure duke and Meghan the Duchess of Debt. That's it. That's their new title. What do you think? Is this just another stumble, or is it game over for Harry and Meghan? Drop your raw thoughts in the comments. I want to see every opinion. Because whether you love them or love to hate them, one thing's for sure. This isn't just the foreclosure of a house. This is the foreclosure of a dream. And trust me, the fallout? Oh, it's only just beginning.